So I was raised to believe that an enemy was anyone who came to your door to talk to you about their beliefs. My father had 3 kids, commuted 2 hours a day to his full-time teaching job, mowed an acre of grass every weekend with a push mower, and he still had all the time in the world to argue with you if you came to the door and wanted him to accept Jesus Christ into his heart as his Lord and Savior. He was a man on a mission, and his mission was to undermine yours. He was there to rock your worldview. He was there to sow the seeds of doubt in your system of belief. And if he finally achieved his goal to convert you into his view, into a world where there was no God, whew, he was never mean, he was never loud, but he was tireless. Now, children mostly believe what their parents believe, and I was no exception. I was pretty sure these people who believed in God, they were a little misguided. They really didn't have it all there. I was pretty sure that I didn't need any religion in my life, and there was no God, and I was really happy with that. But, we don't always continue to believe what our parents believe, for sure, and by the time I went off to college, I was ready to rebel. So what easier way to rebel against my parents than to study religion? Now, I had always been one of those kids who was strong into the math and science. My academic career was just like, yes, I will sit in that dark laboratory room with no windows, and I will measure things, or I will puzzle over these equations that have more Greek symbols in them than a Dr. Walker tweet. Like, that was fine with me. But no, when I was ready to rebel, I was gonna go hard. I was gonna go religion. So I marched across the campus, walked into the humanities building, and signed up for my first religion class. Cults. Now, I didn't want to be bored, I wanted to rebel, but I wanted it to be interesting. So cults was the way to go. And let me tell you that was a great choice. Cults are super fun to study. Like, there are field trips, and I'm not talking about the shitty kind of field trips where you're up to your ass in waders, like digging rocks out of the bottom of a river to see how many grubs live there. No, these were fun field trips. You got to sing songs, you got to eat free food. It was perfect. And, as it turns out, stressed out college students are a really great market for cults, right? And so there were all these cults that we could go visit really close to campus, and they just welcomed us with open togas. They were like, come on in. We had meals with the Moonies, we chanted with the Krishnas, we meditated with the meditation people. I don't really know where they were aligned, but they were cool, So that was really great. Behind the Bibles and the pamphlets, there were some really nice people, too. Like, they were really great, and I was glad to kind of get to know them. I didn't really get in their heads and their worldview, but I really did kind of figure out that they believed their beliefs made their lives better. That's interesting. So for my final paper in this class, I decided to write about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So the Mormons, right? These are the people who are so well known for, going door to door that there was actually like a whole Broadway musical that was done on this topic, right? And as a college woman, it's really easy to find Mormon men who would like to talk to you about anything. So we hung out. I would go to their church. They'd come over to my apartment. We'd eat together. I'd drink something. They would talk, and I would take notes. It was all very collegial. I was careful not to mention that I was writing about their religion for a paper on cults, and they were all too pious to try any funny business. So, I had some great conversations with these nice young men. I started to develop kind of a modicum of respect for the Mormon religion. It's super organized. They're, legendary record keeping. They're very generous tithing process. They're literally epic caliber of disaster preparedness. It was all pretty cool. But then one day, Elder Mark decides he needs to explain the relationship between the Mormon church and black people. I had not asked this question. But for those of you who don't know, feel free to look up the high-level details on Wikipedia, but let's just say that it's a problematic relationship between Black Americans and the Mormon Church. And they actually had decided that they exclude Black people, really, for most of their history from full participation in LDS. And Elder Mark tried this lame and confusing justification for why that was the correct policy for the majority of the church's history, and why that policy had changed, and that was a good thing. And any modicum of respect I had developed kind of evaporated at that point. And I realized that this was probably the issue that my father had. My father, who had served on the front lines in World War II, and he had seen what happens in the world when people let other people tell them how to think and what to love and who to hate. And when people came to his door to tell him that they could give him the one truth, the right belief system, needless to say, he was a little put out by that. And he had seen, firsthand how that could go very, very wrong. Thank you.